He turned his weakness into his greatest weapon. This is John Scatman, a brilliant musician who could barely speak because of a severe stutter. As a child, John was quiet and painfully shy. Speaking even a simple sentence often took him several attempts, and each failed try pushed him further into the role of an outcast among his peers. Unable to communicate with other children, he began searching for another way to express himself, another way to speak, and he found it in music.
I remember asking my mom for years. She says, "Mommy, get me a piano. Get me a piano, please." And so I remember sitting down, pounding on the piano. I say, "Hey, there's something in here for me."
Over time, he began to sink deeper and deeper into the world of music, which eventually brought him to the beauty of jazz. And at some point, he realized that his everyday speech exercises sounded a lot like scat, a jazz vocal technique where singers use their voices to imitate instruments.
Stuttering has forced me to pronounce my words. So pronouncing taught me to scat sing.
As John grew older, he became a jazz pianist. But even though he had mastered scat singing, he couldn't bring himself to sing for many years, afraid that the audience would notice his stutter and laugh at him. But in time, that fear began to fade, and in '94, when he moved to Europe, he finally started to weave bits of scat into his performances. At the time, Europe was swept up by Eurodance, a catchy, simple kind of music that had little in common with jazz. John might never have paid attention to it if one day his manager hadn't suggested what seemed like a crazy idea: to blend scat, rap, and Eurodance into one. At first, this seemed ridiculous to him, but after some thought, he decided to give it a try. And that choice turned the unknown jazz pianist John Larkin into Scatman. At the age of 52, he woke up a star. What had once seemed absurd brought him the dream he'd chased all his life. Its universal simplicity and infectious rhythm instantly turned the song into a global hit. But many missed its deeper meaning. It wasn't just a song, it was a manifesto, a message of hope and courage for everyone who stutters.
Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, don't let nothing hold you back. If the Scatman can do it, so can you.
But only 3 years after his long-awaited success, fate struck a heavy blow. He was diagnosed with lung cancer, a cruel diagnosis that marked the end of Scatman's bright but brief journey. Just a year later, John was gone, but his voice lives on as proof that even our flaws can become our power, because